Hello YouTube, welcome to this video where we will be trying to fix these 3 games I got from eBay. Let's start by testing the games on our Game Boy Advance for the store. This is Mega Man Battle Network 3 and we have nothing. So let's get it out. Let's try the next one, Wario Land 4 for the Game Boy Advance, and we got nothing. The Pokémon Yellow version and Wario Land were bought for parts. The other one came with a Game Boy Advance SP that I purchased. Let's start with the Game Boy Advance games first. Let's move this to the side. Let's try the first solution, which is cleaning the pins with IPA and a cotton swab. And let's double check. Let's put this into the GBA again. And we got a Nintendo logo. Oh my god, this is working. I got this for free actually. It was part of a deal with the Game Boy Advance SP that I purchased recently. I paid like $40 for both, so this is a great thing for us. Now let's test Wario Land after I clean the pins, and still we got nothing. Now let's use our Rayquaza Game Boy Advance to test Pokemon Yellow, and we got a scrambled Nintendo logo. So something's off in this game. Let's do the same thing. Clean the pins, IPA and a cotton swab. Slide it there. And nothing. Still the same scrambled Nintendo logo. So like I said, are gonna start with the GBA game. Oh, look at that. The battery is still there. Looks in good shape. In my first look, I don't see anything out of place, which is a mistake that I made because I proceeded to reflow the game completely, all the chips and everything, and the game could not start. So first, what I'm gonna do is test the battery for voltage. It should have around 3. This is an old battery. It is actually working, 3.1. So battery is used for saving the game. It shouldn't be something that stops the game from working. But let's start by removing it. Put some flux, hit the pads, and lift gently with the tweezers. Now let's go and do that on the other side once again. And now we have removed the battery. So I clean the pads. And after all of that work and reflowing, like I said before, the game didn't start. And that's when I noticed this. This BS has no copper at all. So that might be the reason why this game is not working. I decided to install a battery holder because we're gonna fix that BS. And the battery holder is not meant for these games. It fits, but creates a gap between the board and a cartridge. I don't know if you can notice it. It's a small gap because we're gonna solder a wire to the actual pin that you can see clearly in this part of the game. So if we don't have that gap, we might have issues with this installation when we are trying to close the cartridge. So what we're gonna do is solder a wire to that pin to this BS, which is the one that it's supposed to be connected by that broken BS that we found. Normally I will solder via to BS, but what I said is the BS is actually broken. So there's no copper you can scrap. You can, the only thing that I can think of, I might be wrong, is to solder the pin to the BS just below the chip. So we're gonna do that. And we're gonna start by cutting a piece of wire. Let me bring my wire. This is, I think, 28 gauge wire with insulation. All my links are in the description. If you want to support me, you can purchase from my affiliate links. That will be very, very helpful. So I am removing the insulation from both sides. Sorry, I didn't do that straight to the camera. Now we're gonna slide the wires through the vias that it should be connected to the one that is broken. So just insert it like that. You can see now from the other side. And let's bend the wire so we can work with it. After We have put that. Now let's add some flux. Let me zoom in real quick. Let's put some flux on top of the wire. And we can start soldering into position. Let me bring my iron and the solder. Just heat and touch it. And just like that, I think that's well positioned there, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere soon. So now we need to connect to the pin. So what we're going to do is cut the other side of the wire, remove insulation, and do the same thing. Let me bend this a little bit to the side. Cap here. And now I need to be very careful because I don't want to cut more than I should. So I'll just very quick. I ended up removing all the insulation because that creates like resistance when you're trying to bend it, and I don't want this to be lifted and try and like pull the side that I solder. So I removed all of it, bent the wire entirely, and now I'm applying some flux. We're gonna do the same thing, bring the iron, bring the high quality solder with the wire in position, and we are going to do this with the wire as flat as possible, because otherwise, like I said, we won't be able to close the cartridge, or maybe the cartridge won't load even though the trace is fixed. So just apply some small amount of solder and try to leave it as flat as it can be. I don't know if you can clearly see it, but that should actually fix the issue. In another circumstance, I will just put back the battery that he had. But in this, I think that a battery holder was a good option just to open that little gap that I was talking about. And I know this because I have changed many batteries on Pokemon games for the GBA, so I know this gap is created. So now, as you can see, we have restored the connection. I'm checking that on the side there's nothing that has been breached. So now we can close the game. You can see that there's a tiny gap, nothing very noticeable, and it fits perfectly on the GBA. And now we have a Nintendo logo. Look at that. And yes, the game is working. Wario Land 4. Look at that. He looks very goofy. Of course, there's no save file. We have erased the file when we remove the battery. But now let's go and work with Pokemon Yellow. This one, I got it also for cheap on eBay. It was not working, not booting at all. What I'm going to do is what I usually do, which is compare all the connections with a version of the game that I know is working. So let's put them to the side. The one on the right is the one that I know that works. The one on the left is the one that we are trying to repair. So let's bring in that multimeter. I will save you all the time by not showing every pin that I checked, because I have shown this in many videos before. It's easy to do, but until I found this this pin, I think it was number 22 or 23, you can see there is no connection to the actual vias below the chip. You can barely see that vias because it's half of it is below the chip, the other half is out. I know there's connection between the pin and the first vias, but there's no connection between the vias on top of the pin to the vias. So there's no connection at all. And now you can see this is where the vias is broken. Sorry, the trace is broken. So what we're gonna do, this one is a little bit easier. If I would like to solder a wired vias to vias, I will have to remove the chip. So what I'm gonna do is scrape a little bit of the solder mask with my blade, and I will put a wire on top of it. This is 28 gauge AWG wire. Solder on the copper that I exposed with my knife, just like that. And of course, I will cut the excess of wire, and I will go to the other side and solder that piece of wire as well. By no means this is a good job. Like I said, I'm always practicing and learning. If you want to see a real badass work, you can visit the channel Solder King. I'll leave a description to his channel into the description of this video. He is the master. He deserves the name King. Go visit if you want to see a well done job. So now, as you can see, we have restored the connection. Of course, if you like this comment, you can always leave a like, subscribe. It will support my channel a lot. So now let's test the game. You can see after I clean it and cut the wire, um, let's just put it into position on the cartridge, close the cartridge. And now I think that we can test. I was looking at the gap at this point. Sorry for not focusing correctly. Now let's put into the GBA. Scramble Nintendo logo. Let's blow a little bit on the cartridge, old school. And we have Nintendo logo. So far, so good. Yes, look at that. We have fixed successfully 2 games with broken traces. The other one was a very easy fix. So if you like this content, please subscribe, comment. See you in the next one.